You're a lifesaver. I don't know what I'd do without you. Billy.
Whatever devil's inside you, whatever devil's inside you, don't let him out tonight.
I need this job. I can't lose it. I do not want to go back.
Jacqueline Coley here with Paul Feig. Sir, welcome to the Awards Tour podcast.
Jacqueline, good to see you again.
I know, this is like great. I mean, your history with Rotten Tomatoes, I love it. You wrote the foreword for our book. You have been on like several of our shows here and always just like, I think a great person who vibes with it. And then your latest film, I think is another example of it where like everybody again is loving both the audience as the critics. So you're like the perfect person for Rotten Tomatoes.
I love it. I love Rotten Tomatoes. I love you guys. I know my proudest thing in my office is now 6 Rotten Tomatoes awards for both movies and TV. So it's really exciting.
And we're here to talk about The Housemaid, which is now at home where folks can buy that in the physical copy. They can also get the digital copy. But this was such, I think, a phenomenon of a movie because I read the book. I was all about it. And I'm ready for more of her books. Like this, Frieda's such a prolific author. Yeah. But for you, this was a different movie. Like, I feel like it still felt very much you, but it's like a psychological thriller. So when did you get involved in it and what was sort of the attraction?
Well, I mean, I love doing these kind of movies. You know, the Simple Favor movies are in this world. And so when I got sent this from Lionsgate, we were doing another Simple Favor, and it was going really well. And so my producing partner, Laura Fisher, had been kind of chasing this behind the scenes. And so, they kind of pitched it to me, and they said Sid was attached. Yeah. And I've been dying to work with Sydney. And so I was like, oh, cool. So I read it, and I read the script first. I hadn't read the book. And was like, wow, I really love the idea of something that you can fool an audience for the first half and then really make them regret it and then have a lot of fun with it after that. And then when I read the book, that was really fun because Rebecca Sonnenschein, who did the adaptation of made the screenplay, did such a great job of paring it down so that I was able to go like, oh, let's put this back in, let's put this back in.
Oh yeah, the pace of it is really something else. And yeah, don't get me wrong, you're definitely playing in this world with A Simple Favor, but A Simple Favor, I still felt all of your comedic chops all the way throughout. In this one, I was like, we are on an NBC drama. Like, this is crazy. I had no idea where any of it was going. And then by the time it got to be like, what I would say the comedy of it all. Yeah. We were so far across the rails with it. I'll just talk about it for you though. Did you feel any of that when you were sort of doing like the first half of the film and Sydney's in this really intense psychological film? Did you feel like you were stretching yourself or did it feel just as home as you did with comedies?
Well, I mean, it's funny. I consider all my movies to be comedies. So some are super dark.
Yeah.
And this one, but honestly, when I first read this, I was kind of like, ooh, can I find the fun in this? Because, it's a story about abuse. So there's not a lot of funny about that, obviously. But what I realized is the first half is, the first hour is basically like kind of a pot boiler kind of love triangle. Is she crazy? Is she not crazy? So I knew like that's a little more kind of soapy fun you could have with that by just playing it dead serious, but just the things are extreme, and especially with Amanda, like she's up, she's down, she's crazy, she's yelling, she's your friend, she hates you, so I knew there was fun to be had with that. And then I also knew the real fun was going to be making the audience root for everything they should not be rooting for in that first hour.
Yes, that's exactly right. Like what the twist of this movie, spoiler alert, it's now in the at-home window, is just they're both victims of this man and this nefarious force, which you put Brandon Sklar, who's very dreamy. Him and Michelle are both very dreamy, very, very dreamy. But to do the twist with him, I think that's actually the bigger impressive feat with this film. Yeah. And honestly, the movie, as much as it hinges on your two ladies, if you don't get him right, it's over. Talk about how he got involved in the cast.
Well, huge credit to Brandon, who is so talented. Yeah. And it really came when we were shooting Another Simple Favor. Blake Lively kept saying, "I'm working with this guy, Brandon Sklar. You got to meet him. He's so great. He's funny and he's handsome and he's talented." And so when we were trying to figure out who's going to play Andrew, I'd heard that he had read the script and was interested in it. And I was like, oh, that's that guy. And then I had watched It Ends With Us and thought he was so good and such a great positive force. And it's like, ooh, this would be kind of great. Like, nobody's going to see him coming as a bad guy.
Especially after his other work in 1923, which I also very much enjoyed. He very much plays a stoic hero in that one.
Yeah, he's just like a tough, like, movie star, But guys like that on that trajectory at that point in their career where they're just coming up, you go like, I don't know, is he going to want to play like a guy who turns into like a really awful guy, but he came in like, I know exactly how I want to do this, and I really want to go for it. He's like, you better reinforce those sets. I'm going to try to break them down.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's a very physical role for everybody, I think, that's on that set.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I do want to talk about the two ladies of it. Listen, I saw a lot of the interviews that you did leading up to us. You've been so effusive about what Amanda and Sydney did. What I'd actually like you to tell me about is what was the most surprising take that you got from both of them, if it made it into the film? Something that you didn't expect for them to do, but you're at the monitor being like, oh.
Well, I mean, every day was honestly surprising. But I think with Amanda, it was just when right before, right when she's getting thrown out of the house, right in the middle. I said, I want you to confront Sydney. And she was doing it, and we had the slap and everything. And I was like, get right in her face, get right, like nose to nose. And she just did that thing. She was like, fuck you. And I was like, I was literally almost like ruined the take because I was like, this is so great. And we had the handheld camera, so we got right in there.
Wow.
So that was really cool. And then just with Sid, it was just watching her unleash the beast.
At the,
Yeah.
When she finally found her purpose, as folks have said.
Yeah, and so, and she and Brandon were like, we want to do our own stunts, like for the fight, and you're like, okay. And there was times where we're like, oh my God, they're going to kill each other.
Yeah.
But they were just, they're so physical and so don't hold back. And she had just done Christie, so she was like, when they had to do the slap, when Amanda had to slap her, Amanda's like, I don't want to slap you. She goes like, I've been hit for the last 3 months.
That's true.
Hit me as hard as you can.
With boxing gloves on there.
Yeah.
So she was really into it. Oh, that is so good about it.
Yeah, no, they're two badasses. I love them.
Also, the success of the film, I think, is also something interesting, too, because coming out at the end of the year, I think a lot of people think those movies sometimes get buried inside, either really big family-friendly moves. I mean, you guys were having to go up against Zootopia for a lot of your run, and, a lot of big...
Avatar.
And Avatar, and, all
two
these...
little movies.
Yeah, two small little independent features. But it still managed to find an audience that was very passionate about it, that saw it over and over again. It was, a record box office performance, and it's still, I think, hitting milestones even in the home window.
Yeah.
Why do you think it resonated so much with audiences during such a pull for your attention time?
Well, I mean, first of all, my tombstone will read counter programming, because everything I do, I know exactly. Everything is always counter programming with me, which I like though, because I think it was an excuse for an audience to go and have fun. I mean, look, all the movies that came out are fun, obviously, but this is almost like a throwback to a 90s kind of those thrillers, What Lies Beneath, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, those things which I think, they went away for a long time, or else they've just been on streaming. When I saw Fatal Attraction for the first time in the theater, people were going, we were nuts. We were yelling and screaming and all that.
When she jumps out of the water, you jump like it's a horror movie.
People are cheering and all that. So to bring that level of fun back, and I think that's why, as a comedy director, I really like doing these kind of movies, because I'm not only getting the laughs in the places where I can get them where they're not hurting the story and being against the serious nature of the topic, that you also get the scares and the jumps and the screams and the applause and the oh my gods. That, for a person who does comedy, we're just looking to affect an audience to get a reaction. So you're getting this double reaction out of people, and it's just catnip for us.
And I also think too, and granted, movie making is a team sport, obviously, but I do think when we're talking about comedy directors, somebody like yourself who has directed work that's being recognized at that time at the Academy Awards, that is such a high bar.
Only once.
Hey,
I'll take it.
How many comedies get nominated at the Academy Awards?
Let's
be real. It's
that
you, Alexander Payne, and 3 other people. Nobody else manages to pull this off. So no, let's give that little mark of how important it is.
Thank you.
But I'd be curious for you, if you could make a case right now for comedy movie making, what is the thing that you think maybe some of these folks either that are trying to find tickets and find things, or maybe some of the people that are greenlighting stuff, I don't know, be like, hey, this is what y'all should be paying attention to? Because I think your track record proves that it's viable at home, but also still in the box office.
Yeah, I think, look, there's plenty of comedies that have been really successful, and I love a lot of them that are just silly, just silly in the jokes, and they crazy characters and all that. I love that, but I think audiences have a harder time these days latching into that, because I think people want high stakes. And it doesn't mean the end of the world and bad guys are coming in. It's high emotional stakes of this is a movie about, it seems like a marriage falling apart and, and somebody's life is in danger, that kind of thing. But it then brings along that second layer of fun with it because, I look at it as being, the fun comes from extreme characters and extreme situations, and everything is treated very real within those confines. And where I think comedy has fallen apart, over the years is if it gets too silly, it's hard to invest in it. You're not like, oh, I'm really riding with what's going on with this person. I'm worried about this person. I want this to happen. If you're just going, okay, it's just kind of fun, and okay, that villain's kind of silly, and so I'm going to watch them bumble around. That can be really fun. I just think it's harder to get an audience to invest in that versus they're engaged in something and they're having this reaction of they're laughing. So I think you really got to find stories that have weight. I always say my movies, they're comedies, they're dramas that are funny. So you have to have this dramatic core that has these character arcs and these high stakes, and then you build the fun within there where you can.
Well, you've built a lot of fun. I want to talk about some of those other stops too, because I know this, and I think most people know this, but not everybody knows this, especially now that I find that what my generation had as far as looking backwards, folks don't have. So you have a lot of Gen Z and younger kids who love The Office. I don't think they know that you directed the most famous and highest rated episode, The Dinner Party, which I think is crazy because I can't watch that episode without pausing for several moments so that I don't laugh over more parts of it. Just take us back to like you shooting that day, because I read somewhere where you said that like you literally were just laughing at the monitor like the whole time just trying to basically keep your
We all were. We could barely get through that week. We were laughing so hard because it was such a well-written script, and then that, what a super group of performers. But the funny thing about that, I've said this in other interviews, but it's dead true, that was a really hated episode when it first came on.
I remember this.
Yeah, the fans hated it because it was so cringy, it was so uncomfortable.
Because they were watching it live too when we couldn't like turn away, and we were like sitting there like this with it. Yeah, I do.
Because now you know it's coming, so you're just going to enjoy it. But like but that's my favorite kind of comedy. Yeah. The more you squirm, the more I love it.
I mean, it's funny though, but I do remember this time because this was back in the message board days. And like when I say message board days, like I remember the Save Our Bluth message board days, like that. Like because
we had a Freaks and Geeks message board. Which
exactly, I remember that one too. Yeah, a lot of your shows end up with like message board pleads.
Exactly, which is good and a bad thing.
Good and bad thing. But I do remember that with The Office. But you know what changed it is when this was back when you would go buy seasons at like Blockbuster and you would rent them, and anybody who watched it in the rental window, I think liked it very different than the like weekly watcher people.
Yeah, I mean that's why it's there aren't as many shows these days that are that comfort food show because they're just not making enough episodes. We were making 22, 24 episodes a year, so there's over 100. So it becomes this thing you're watching every week. It's hard, I think, for people to get super invested in shows that are doing like 6 to 8 episodes a year. Doesn't mean they're not going to be good, but you don't get that thing of like it's on every week and then the reruns are on every week. So your favorite show is there every single week, the entire year.
Yeah, and I also think too, I don't think folks realize this. So you obviously made the show Freaks and Geeks, which everyone was obsessed with. Another show that I think patterned this idea of like you want to buy the DVD. I remember listening to the commentaries that you all did. And y'all did like roundtables and different people did different episodes. Like again, that's like of a so forgotten era. But then you had this incredible run as a television director, and then you had this incredible run as a film director. But all of this was after your work as an actor, which I was just like, what do you think was the most informative to you being a director now from your early work that helped you become such a successful director? Because I do think all those stops are the reason why you're really good at this now.
Oh, thanks. It's two things. It was being a stand-up comedian because you are the writer, director, star, editor, everything, and you learn very much about how an audience watches something and what the pace they watch it at, when you need to bring them up, when you need to bring them down, you give them a break, when you pull them through. So, and the way you work your act, you kind of, you go up with this stuff and you do it and you kind of go, okay, that didn't work, let's swap this out, that didn't work. So you're always plussing it up. So that helps me as far as being a director, producer. But when I was an actor, that gave me the real skill set of going like, oh, now I know what these actors are going through. I know how to get the best out of people because I know what didn't work with me, the directors would do, and what did work with me. And if it was a director who's like, no, don't do this and stick to the script, and don't, then you're like, you tense up. And I want to create this atmosphere where people can try anything that they want, and just they trust me. So they go like, if I give them a direction, they're like, I don't know. It's like, let's try it. I won't use it if it doesn't work. And sometimes something great comes out of that, sometimes it doesn't, but I'm not gonna make anybody look bad.
No, and I think that's also why you have so many people that frequently want to collaborate with you across times. From your time working as an actor, though, I do want to bring it to this anecdote, and hopefully we'll be able to put the clip in here. But I listened to a very famous drag queen called Trixie Mattel, her podcast.
We love Trixie.
And she talked about you on it, and I thought it was the coolest thing. I was like, that's Rotten Tomatoes' own Mr. Paul Feig. But I think it's so funny that what she was coming up to with you before she eventually got to know you more, was for your work on Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
There you go. Mr. Poole in the house. Hang on.
Do you guys know I love Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the original series, the TV show? And I'm watching it recently while I'm getting in drag. So I've been watching it a lot. And I go, oh my God, that is the science teacher from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I have to say hello.
I love that idea. What is the one when people come up to you, though, you're like, oh, this is the cool kids ones? Because obviously people come up to you for Bridesmaids and Ghostbusters and so many other things. But what's the one when people come up to you and be like, that one? Really?
The one, it's the funniest thing. My friend Pete Siegel directed Naked Gun. The Naked Gun, the third Naked Gun movie. Yeah. And there was a sequence at the Academy Awards, and he shot the whole thing, and then he called me up and was like, I need reaction shots from the audience for when crazy things happen. So would you come down? And so it's me and a friend of mine, Joel Botwinick, who's a writer, and some other people, and it's just us and reacting and okay, put your hand over your mouth, okay, go like this, and more than anything I've done in my career. People go, hey, you're the guy from Naked Gun.
Wow,
sure,
that's
cool.
actually kind of great. So I don't think I would have clocked that, but now I really want to go clock that because that's
Don't blink, you miss it. I'm telling you. I don't know how people remember that.
No, I'm sure I would flick it out if I was looking for it, because honestly, that was I watched that on Encore, which is not even a channel anymore. It's called Stars now, but that's what I probably saw Naked 23rd. The other thing I was going to ask you, what do you think from all of your incredible work that you wish people actually paid attention to more, that maybe they haven't spent as much time with as Bridesmaids and some of this other stuff? You'd be like, hey, if you want to see a cool deep cut that I really like, but maybe not other people saw, this is the one.
I mean, it's funny because, you love when anybody loves anything you did, but at the same time, when people come up, Bridesmaids is my favorite movie, oh man, that's so cool, but that was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I love Spy so much, but I'm really proud of The Heat. I mean, you love all your babies.
No, Spy is a good one because you showed how awesome Rose Byrne was before the Academy Award nomination.
Congratulations,
and
Rose,
2
too.
Academy
so
nominees
deserved.
there. Yeah. That is so good.
Yeah, but I made a movie called Jackpot for Amazon that I had so much fun with. It's one of my favorite things I've done, and the critics just killed it.
Aww.
Thanks, Rotten Tomatoes. Not your fault. But I'm really proud of it because I just said I want to make a crazy Jackie Chan physical comedy thing, and it was Awkwafina and John Cena.
Oh wow,
it was really fun. But the problem was, again, my movies, if I make them, I make them for an audience. I make them for a theater. But then it's a streaming movie, so you never, we do these test screenings, we have a premiere, and the place is going nuts and all this, and then people just watch it at home. And so they're not getting that group experience the first time they see it. So then when they watch it again, they kind of remember how much fun they had in the theater.
Yeah, no, I get that. But the one thing I will say too is I feel this, and granted, I know there were 2 separate moments, and they were, honestly, considering how long it was from the first one to the second one, I think it's phenomenal how well received the second one was. Not that you can't do it that well, but Simple Favor, starting in the theaters and then going on streaming. I still felt the cultural moment with that one where people were really caring about it, really paying attention. I mean, that was when I think folks besides myself who don't read romance novels, they met Michelle. I knew who he was from 365 Days, but not a lot of other people watch that, and I understand you shouldn't.
Very controversial.
You know what I mean? This is not for you, but I read the book, so I was down. So I was like, let's watch this. Anyway, I'd be curious. Again, we all have our vices. But I'd be curious for you, were you surprised at how well that second one was received, considering the time and also the fact that it was in a different medium, but I still think people enjoyed it just as much?
Yeah, I was really happy. I'll tell you something very interesting. This is about theatrical versus streaming, which is, I said, okay, I want this movie reviewed when we do the critics things. fill it up, do it in the theater, have other critics there. Let's recruit, not fake audiences. Let's just like for word of mouth bring people in. And so all the reviews we got before we got released on streaming were really great. We hit like an 85 on Rotten Tomatoes. Then, so we came out, and then all these other reviewers just did it off of streaming. This was made for an audience. People have so much fun in the theater with it. So it's kind of a drag, but I'm really proud of it. And
so you're saying that like the movie played as the better version of the movie in the theater, and then when it got to streaming, it didn't have that. I saw it at South by, so I can't disagree with you on that.
There you go. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
audience.
I felt the way the audience felt with it on that one. Wow.
And I honestly think, the Housemaid, I think. If it just came out on streaming, I probably would have done really, really well, but you wouldn't have had the same, because here's the thing, like when you're doing a movie that's tonally like that, which it looks like a serious drama, but you go, oh, this is actually kind of funny, you need to be with other people to kind of know that, because otherwise you're going like, oh, there's something wrong with this because this is funny, but it shouldn't be funny. So I guess they didn't know it's funny. You're like, no, you guys, you need to be. You're going, oh, other people are having fun. I can have fun.
Yeah, no, and I will say this: I was at the Housemaid premiere. That's when I saw it, and even though that's a premiere, and you know this, premiere audiences, it's a lot of like business people. It's not that audience. Yeah. When she starts swinging, everybody was having a good old time in the you know what I mean, in the TCL. They were like with her with that, and it did have that sort of like electric. So yeah, you're not going to be excited about somebody getting their face bashed in after all that, unless you're with other people. Yeah,
it's a cathartic event. Like movies should be a cathartic event. We make movies. If you're not making movies first and foremost to entertain an audience, then you shouldn't be doing it. If you're doing it to try to win awards or whatever, entertain first. The awards will come if they do. Again, Bridesmaids got nominated for 2 Oscars. Do you think we thought we were going to get 2 Oscars for somebody shitting in a sink?
That would be like a really like I believe moment, and that would have been great to call your shot, a la Robert Redford in The Natural. But like honestly, it was great, man. And like Melissa having her moment, because that is like just like again still quotable to this day.
It's really fun, but it's just testament. Like just try to make an audience have a good time. You can drag them through the mud, you can get dark, whatever, heavy drama, but just kind of go, but I want you to, have an experience in the theater.
I dig that. The other thing I really dig, as talented as you are behind the camera and as many incredible performances as you've shaped, I also love that every time I know I'm going to see you, I'm like, he's going to have on a good suit, which I think is like absolutely incredible. And I loved like when you did A Simple Favor, you gave us like, which I thought was crazy because Blake doesn't even drink, but you had her like showing you how to like make martinis and that thing. What do you think are the keys to people that want to know about how to dress well in a suit? What are like your like advice to this? Because I do think people don't realize, they're intimidated by it because they don't know. It's like, no, there's a formula to this.
Well, I mean, first of all, people go like, oh, I can't because it costs too much. Like, no, you can go to Zara and H&M. I see the most beautiful. I have friends in England who every time I see one, like, who makes that suit? It's beautiful. Zara. Like, what?
Wow.
Like that costs like nothing compared to the things I put on my body. So find the right style that fits you nicely. If you can get it nipped and tucked, to make sure that's not sloppy or whatever, and then you have to own your clothes.
Yeah.
What I mean is, like I've been to some of, because I walk in the men's styling world, and sometimes you go to these places where people are so, it's almost like a costume, and you see them and they don't look comfortable, versus like, you got to own the suit, man. You got to don't let it wear you. You got to wear it. It's like I would say, if you meet a friend of yours, oh, I play guitar now, and you see him kind of hunched over and all this, and then you watch like Jimi Hendrix, like he owns the guitar. That's what you got to do with your clothes.
Oh, Jimi Hendrix, your clothes. Oh, I love that one.
Hendrix, your clothes.
And then the last question too, because I guess the last show you said you went to was the Ralph Lauren 50th, which was a pretty star-studded event, as far as I could tell.
I sat next to Anna Wintour.
Yeah.
Without her sunglasses on. Thank you.
I love this so much. But besides maybe the lovely stuff you saw there, what are the people that you really are like, pay attention to this suiting person? Like I just saw earlier this year, Jonathan Anderson, he's now at Dior, and I'm like very excited for what he's gonna do when the men's world rolls around. But who would you be like, oh, check this person out, these guys are doing really well?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the suit I'm wearing today, and this is not a plug because I paid for this, Isaia, my friend Gianluca Isaia, which is, it's out of Naples, and they do this kind of, it's more Italian style, like Neapolitan, so it's got like a natural shoulder, and it's just, the Italian styling is much more fitted.
Yeah.
Because I love British styling too, and I love classic American, like Ralph Lauren we were talking about. But there's some really, there's some good designers out there and brands.
Who do you want to invite you for front row if you haven't been invited for yet? Come on, like put the wish list out.
I mean, Tom Ford's not running his company anymore, but I'd like to, I'm such a fan of Tom.
Yeah, he's about to make another movie.
I know. He's such a good director.
He is such a good director.
But I love Tom and Cuccinelli. I would love to be one of those. I want to be in one of those. They have those dinners where it's like the table's a mile long.
No, I will say too, I am always envious of the men's suiting stuff because I remember, I forget who did it, but they had one runway show where they brought out all the villains of Hollywood and they had them all work in like credible suits. So it was like Willem Dafoe and Gary Oldman.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, it was just such fabulous. But yeah.
Men's suiting is really
great.
exciting.
All right, before we get out of here, we're going to bring it back to the movies. You're a man that I know like loves movies. And is there anything that you haven't done yet that you want to do as a director that where is the next place that you would like to go?
Dying to do a musical. It's got to be the right one though. I want to do like an original musical that's big and splashy and fun. That would be fun.
Like something that was on Broadway or something like brand new?
No, something brand new.
Okay.
I'd like to develop an original one.
Oh,
We've been trying in our company for years and stuff. So
maybe, post K-pop, post Wicked, like now is the time for the musicals.
I know. Because I love Bollywood musicals. I love the K, my wife is a K-drama, K-pop fanatic.
Oh,
so.
she is? What's her bias?
I know.
By the way, I'm sorry. I know you know this. Which band is it? What's her bias? I know you know this.
Oh, she's traditional, so she likes One Direction.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but she's so into the K-drama, it's insane.
Gotcha.
She knows everybody who they are. We become friends with some because she just reaches out to them, and suddenly I'm having lunch with somebody from
I'm not gonna lie to you. Don't let the K-drama girls know. I'm also a K-drama girl.
Okay.
Like I literally got somebody to watch Business Proposal, which that has on Sop, who's the voice in K-pop Demon Hunters in there. No, we could trade whatever. Crash Landing into you, Hubin.
I gotta get you guys together because she's always like it's somebody who should I watch and she reels off.
Oh man, dude, the Vicky sponsor me, Vicky Rodka I would really love to get a free membership because I watch a lot.
Oh, that's right. Every month that comes up on my bill. I'm like, what is this? Because
you gotta stay on a lot of streaming services to stay in the know. Anyway, that is another conversation for a different day.
Yeah, right.
Mr. Paul Feig, sir, thank you so much for being here.
You're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.